Alright. I always say that. I guess that's my thing. Maybe I'll just make an intro for my videos that is just a big, colorful, alright. It'll come in and you just see this big thing saying, alright. And then I'll do a voiceover of me saying, alright. And then it'll cut to me and I'll be like, alright. Anyhow. Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, December 9th, 6:30 in the morning. I am in Tacoma, going through Tacoma on the highway. I don't really have anything important to talk about at this point. I just figured I'd say hello since I'm just driving down the freeway bored. Bringing this empty container up to the shipyard or whatever up in Seattle. So dispatch wanted me to bring my tarps, and I don't have any way to haul them on my truck. I always just keep them on my trailer. So I threw them inside the container. I'm gonna swing by, we have a little yard up here with a couple trailers where it's somebody else's yard, but they let us keep a couple trailers there. Which is where I'm going to be going to grab a trailer once I deliver this container and chassis back to the shipyard or whatever. So I'm going to swing by that our little holding yard thing, throw my tarps, get them out of the container, throw them on an empty trailer, then run over to the shipyard, which is really only 5-6 miles away, drop off this container and chassis. Then I'll head back to the holding yard, or whatever you want to call it, and hook up to the trailer that will then have my tarps on it. And then who knows what I'll be doing from there. So that's the plan for the morning. Yeah, we're in Tacoma. I'm only a couple miles away from the port of Tacoma, so mile marker 132 is where I'm at right now. Port of Tacoma is like 136. The exit I need to go to the yard thing is like 156. So we're just 20 something miles away from our destination, if you will. So yeah, traffic's slowing down a bunch. It always does right here. There's another highway that just joined up right there. So it always, actually it's really good today compared to normal, so that's good. It means I'll make good time. So, anyhow, I'm just going to keep on keeping on for another 22, 23 miles. Then I'll get rid of these tarps and head a few miles away to get rid of this whole trailer. So I'm sure I will update something in a while anyhow, if there's more to update. Alright, well I dropped off my container and chassis, came back here to the place where I dropped off my tarps this morning and got my trailer, or a trailer. Now I'm heading to get my load. I think it's going to be a giant load of styrofoam that I have to tarp, which sucks, but that's the job. I don't mind tarping, as I've said before, I don't necessarily mind tarping. I don't particularly like tarping the styrofoam, because it's a really tall load and it doesn't weigh anything, so you just don't feel very stable. It's not very comfortable being up there. But what can you do? I don't know that that's what I'm hauling, but I think that's what it is. I'll find out soon enough. And then also, my GPS said the address of the place like doesn't exist basically. So I'm having to use my phone to navigate me there. So we'll see how that goes. It says it's 40 miles basically away. So it's in Puyallup, so I know it's a little ways south of here. I wouldn't have guessed it was that far, but apparently it is. So, anywho, so that's what I'm doing. Heading down towards Puyallup, gonna get loaded with something. Like I said, I'm guessing it's styrofoam. The good part of that is it's super light. The bad part is it's no fun to tarp. But it is what it is, so I will update when there's more to update. Okay. I did that so that I didn't say alright, because that's what I was about to say. I'm all done getting loaded and tying down and tarping and all that. I'd never been to this place before. It was styrofoam. I think I said before that I was hoping it wasn't, or something, that I didn't like tying down styrofoam because, well, it's really tall and it's really unstable. That's exactly what it was. I assumed it was, figured it was. So, since I'd never heard of the place and I didn't know how to get there, I was waiting for dispatch to text me the address. So while I was waiting, I Googled the company, and saw that they sell many building material things, but one of the things was styrofoam. And knowing that that stuff has to get tarped, and that my load was a tarp load, it only made sense that it was going to be styrofoam. So, but really, that wasn't bad at all. I like that place for, if I have to haul foam, I mean, that's the best I've ever had it. You check in there, and if the load you're getting has to be tarped, then they have you back into these bays underneath the cover, and they load you under the cover, and then you stay under there and you tarp. So if it's pouring down rain, you don't have to tarp in the rain, which is nice. Most places want you to tarp it. They load you inside, and then they send you out in the rain, which gets the product all wet, and then you have to tarp in the rain. And then especially, the styrofoam is all wrapped in, it's like saran wrap basically, it's not, but, so if you're up 14 feet in the air on top of the stuff trying to tarp, and it's raining, that stuff gets super slick. So it's nice that they have that area for you, and then you have to wear a harness, which I've never, in any of the places that I've hauled styrofoam from, there's never been any way to wear a harness. You're just up there, right? They lift you up there with a forklift, and then you're up there until they come and bring you back down. Or unless you fall. Yeah, I guess there's always that option. So they have these big roll-around ladders that you can use to like put your corners up, and I got it all strapped down, and then they tossed my tarps up there with the forklift, and then just put on a harness, and they have roll-around stairs. So just walk up the stairs, get on top of the load, spread out the tarps, come back down the stairs when you're done. I mean, it was nice and easy, and I mean, as easy as tarping can be, and dry, and I don't know, I didn't mind it at all compared to, like I said, anywhere else that I've hauled. Really? Got just about got smacked. He turned right in front, like when I said really, he pulled out right in front of me, doing like half a mile an hour. Like he didn't even notice me there, and then he looked up right in my eyes like, oh crap, as I said really. Some people just can't be behind a semi. Gotta get up there. So anyways, yeah, the whole load, I don't know if you can see it when I just turned. Maybe you could, I don't know. Ballooning up pretty good. it doesn't quite fill it. It's 32 feet, the front 32 feet of the trailer, so I got 16 feet empty on the back. But yeah, 32 feet long, 8 foot wide, like 8 or 9 feet tall, 2,400 pounds, styrofoam. That guy that totally just turned right in front of me, I'm doing exactly the speed limit, and I'm gaining on him pretty quick. I'm either going to have to go around him or just slow down. He was in that big old hurry, and now I'm going around. Couldn't be behind a semi, but doesn't want to do the speed limit. I'm gonna have to throw a couple straps, move a couple straps. These tarps are ballooning out a bit. It's not terrible, but they're sticking out like 6 inches. I mean, it's hanging 8.5 feet, right? With nothing holding. The bottom is attached with bungees on each side, but nothing's holding that center span in, so they're just going with the wind. Makes it a little bit difficult to see. Not really, but mostly out that side. If I want to look right down the side of my trailer, I can't. So maybe I'll pull over along the way and just throw a strap over the center of each tarp to just hold the middle in a little bit. That's another thing. A lot of times with a big span like that, I think I've talked about it before, it's almost better for driving it later if you tarp it before you tie it down and then go through and throw all your straps, because then not only are your straps holding the load down, but they're holding the tarps in so they don't blow, balloon out. But especially with something 9 foot tall and 4 foot wide, walking around up there, I want it tied down before I get up there. Even with a harness, I want it tied down. So, anyhow, I'm really low on fuel. That's one of the things I don't like about having the CFN card. The CFNs they never seem to be in a convenient place. They're never where I need them to be. Now, typically I stop on the way up here every time and get fuel. Not every time, but most of the times. But I had, almost a half a tank this morning. Should be plenty. But my fuel light's been on for a long time, and the needle's almost on empty, and I've got 60 miles until the next CFN. Now, I have a lot more fuel, I think, than the gauge says. I've only let it get this low once, but I let it get this low once, like thinking I'm running on fumes, and then it only took 147 gallons. It should fit 190 gallons from empty, which means I had almost 40, I had a good probably 40 gallons in there, which is another like 200 miles, more than 200 miles I could have driven. So, on the one hand, you don't want to cut it too close and run out of fuel. But, I don't know. Like I said, at where I was when I left this morning, it should have been plenty of fuel to do what I'm doing, especially because I had an empty container going up which weighed nothing, which should have made my fuel mileage better. And now my load is, I have a flatbed that's almost essentially empty. I mean, it has a large load physically on it, but weight-wise, I probably weighed 32,000 pounds. It's 33 tops. It's basically empty. So I should be getting good mileage. The thing about it is, I think when it starts getting this low, down to like 1/8 of a tank, I think the fuel just sloshes so much that the needle is just like, whatever, you're empty, go get fuel. when actually I have 50 gallons in there or something. It sloshes so much. Because where I was tarping and tying down and whatnot, I left the guy passed me back. He's in front of me again. Only because I caught up to some traffic that was going slow, and I knew I was taking an exit in like a mile and a half, so I was like, well, I'll just slow down. So then he slowly caught back up to me and then had to pass me and get over in front of me. Stuff's annoying because obviously I'm gonna go, like, when we're able to go, I'm going faster. As soon as we go, or I'm about to loop around and get on I-5, and I'll probably pass him in the first few miles because he'll probably do 2 miles an hour below the speed limit, and I'll do 3 over. Anyways, what I was saying before was where I was under that cover, tying down and tarping and all that, was a flat slab. So the truck was sitting perfectly level, and it sat there for almost 2 hours while I got loaded and tied down and tarped and all that. So I turned the key on before I left, while I was just doing my log and whatnot, and just to see where the fuel was, since the truck had been sitting still, everything could settle and even out, and it was on 1/8 of a tank. So when I got there, I was on like empty, and then I parked on flat ground and sat there for a while, and it was, you know, then looked at it, and it was on 1/8 of a tank. As soon as I started driving again, well, since I was just turning right, it went up to 1/8 of a tank, because the gauge is in the tank on this side. There's a 100-gallon tank on each side. The gauge is in this tank, so turning right put more fuel over that tank, which made the needle go up. But so I was like on empty when I got there, sitting on flat ground for a couple hours, was on 1/8 of a tank. Then as soon as I start pulling out of there, it goes like back down to empty. And going around that right-hand turn, it went up to 1/8 of a tank. Now it's on about a 1/16 of a tank. We'll see how it kind of settles in once I settle into the freeway now. But so it's very nerve-wracking to be, you know, on empty in like my personal vehicles and this or anything. To me, like a quarter tank is empty. If I get down to a quarter tank, I need fuel now. I don't like being on empty, but I don't know. So it makes me nervous, but I know logically I should be able to get about 125 miles per 1/8 of a tank. Something like that. Which means where I was sitting on flat ground, I should have a good 125 miles anyways that I could go. And I only need to go from there 69 miles. 70, we'll just say 70 miles. So even though this is like, it's almost on empty again, logically, I shouldn't have to worry about it. Because I should be able to get 125 miles out of 1/8 of a tank, which is what I had 8 miles ago, or however far I've gone. I don't know how far I've gone, but it hasn't been very far. So we'll see. I'm at, let's see, mile marker 126. Fuel is at mile marker 72. So 54 miles now, right? Yeah. So, oh, where'd dude go? Did I already pass him? He's not in front of me. I must have already passed him. I wasn't paying attention. As soon as we got on the, I mean, I'm empty, I can accelerate as with all of these cars, you know, unless they're actually trying to like go super fast. But just normal acceleration, I mean, with no weight on me, I can accelerate. So as soon as we got on the freeway, I got over a lane and passed a bunch of cars. There's a car right here. He's been going 2 miles an hour slower than me, so I'm inching up on him. Every time I get in front of my truck beside him, he speeds up just ahead of me, and then he slows back down. I'm coming back on him now. Coming back on him. Let's see if he does it again. Okay, I'm by his driver's door. No, he's not speeding up yet. Oh, he's speeding up a little. He's staying with me. He's going back ahead now. Oh, now he's gonna get over in front of me so that he can slow back down and I can't get beside him. People do that all the time too. They're like, oh, I'll stop him from getting beside me. I'll just get in front of him and then slow down. Well, I'm just gonna get over. It's funny, like, really, if you've never spent any time in a semi, you should find someone that you know that drives a truck and just go ride with them for a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. Because it's really funny watching the things people do. They, like, it's pretty, there's different types of people, but there's so much the same. I mean, all kinds of people do that, what that guy was just doing. They just don't want to have a truck pass them. They don't want to go fast. They don't want to go as fast as I'm going, but they don't want me to pass them. So they do that every time you, like, I really hate it when it's like a 2-lane road, a 2-lane, you know, 2 lanes going each direction, and you catch up to someone, you're going 4 miles an hour faster. You catch up to them fairly quickly, you get over to pass them, as soon as you're halfway around, they speed up, take off ahead of you. So you get back over, and then they slow down. Catch back up to them, get over, get halfway around them, they speed up and take off. And it's really annoying. But a lot of people do that. I don't know. There's a lot of things, I can't think of them all until people do them. There's a lot of little things like that, though, that you just see day in and day out that are just annoying. I mean, you can't help but laugh. I mean, well, that's not true. I'm sure there's some guys that get really upset, and the only person they're hurting by getting really upset is themselves. But all you can do is laugh after you're done being upset, I guess. I get upset briefly when, like, that guy that turned right in front of me. Like, so impatient that you can't just wait your turn. You have to cut in front of me because you can't stand to be behind me, but then you do 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. I caught up to him in, you know, no time and was around him and ahead of him anyways. So, anyhow, find someone that drives a semi if you've never spent any time in one. Find someone you know or that's willing to take a passenger, or their company allows them to take a passenger or something. Spend a little bit of time just riding in one and seeing the silly things that people do. Make sure, though, if you're going to do that, that you do it when they're going to be in a city area, because if you're driving, you know, where just kind of not near a city, there's not a whole lot that happens. You know, once you get outside of a city, there's not near as much traffic, and everybody's usually pretty respectful, and you'll catch up to the occasional guy that doesn't want you to pass him, but, you know, the odds of that stuff happening when there's so much fewer cars around is much slimmer. So try to find somebody that drives around a city a lot. I see this stuff a lot because I drive between Portland and Seattle all the time. And, you know, I'm in the Seattle-ish area. Technically, I'm in the Tacoma area now. But Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, it's all fairly big cities. So I see this stuff a lot. Somebody that doesn't spend much time around cities, they're not going to see it here as much. But anyways, that's all. I don't know if I'll have any more updates because I'm just going back to the yard and parking it for the day. And then delivering this load in the morning. So I'll probably stop at a truck stop. I got to stop for fuel. And then I might stop at a truck stop also. I think the same exit that I'm going to stop at for fuel, there's a CFN on one side of the freeway and a truck stop on the other side. So I'll probably go get fuel, then go over to that truck stop and see if I can get a headlight. I noticed I have a headlight out. So I don't know if they'll have them there, but I guess the only way to find out is to look. So, but yeah, I can't think of any real good reason for me to update anything else. I don't know. So we'll see. This might be it. If it is, then thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I know I've been gaining a few subscribers here recently, getting a lot more watches, so that's cool. Thank you to the people that are watching, and the people that have been watching, like Stretch. I know you've been watching pretty much since the beginning, so thanks for that. I'm gonna go home and drive around in my diesel pickup truck and really just drive home, but have fun with that. So maybe I'll talk to you in a while. You haven't met this one yet.
What?
You've met that one.
It's not even on.
Yeah, it is. See that red light?
Yeah?
That means it's on.
Wait, that is a green light means?
No, the green light means it's on but not recording. The red light means it's recording. So you've met that one. But you haven't met that one. You have something you want to say?
Hi! Hi!
Yeah. He likes his daddy.